This is the new Weight Watchers, built for real life and real results, no matter what mode you're in. Maddie went all in for her big day and lost 33 pounds. Emily lost 85 pounds and hit her goal while still living her life.
Weight Watchers gave me the tools and I feel amazing.
Join the millions of members and lose weight with the #1 doctor-recommended weight loss program. Lose more at WeightWatchers.com.
At 6 months, participants in a clinical trial of Weight Watchers program lost an average of 12 pounds.
If we're talking best linemen available, that brings us nicely, Shane, on to the Arizona Cardinals, who have 7 picks in this draft. The consensus first-round pick for them is either Francis Mauigoa, the UOT, or David Bailey, the Texas Tech edge rusher. They got plenty of needs here, and they are in the position where they can address a key one with that pick. You think they're going line, offensive line, or you think they're going edge rusher?
Look who's playing quarterback. It would be kind of nice if he could keep him upright. I mean, even just look at how Jacoby Brissett played last year. If that is the one who's starting, because it could be Gardner Minshew, it could be whoever else that they decide. Maybe if one of the Artemis astronauts manages to land in Arizona and could throw a good ball, they might throw him in there as well. And in which case, you need to keep that offensive line as strong as possible. Because remember last year as well with Brissett had incredibly high numbers of attempted passes and completed passes and yards, but he felt like he was running for his life all the time, and there was no run game to benefit that. And look what they're trying to do now. They brought in Isaac Seumalo as a guard. They brought in Tyler Algier to try and boost the run game. They got Kendrick Bourne now as a wide receiver. It kind of leads you in a position that whoever they feel is the best offensive lineman to fit into their system, and that's kind of the way to go. Look, there's a few different ways you can skin that cat. I will refer to our offensive line expert, Craig Rigdon, as to who will be the best person there. But I think just fundamentally, that's the first priority here is trying to get the offense sorted. I think the defense in Arizona, while there's a lot of pieces missing, it's more of a schematic thing than a talent thing, and that will take another year to fully rebuild. So whilst that's happening, look at where they spent the free agency money, and look where they're putting their focus on now. Even the fact that they brought in LaFleur as a head coach is a very good offensive mind. Try to build that as being the strength here, because let's face it, the Cardinals are the 4th team in the group of death. I mean, they're not getting it. It's going to be very difficult, no matter what they do, to get anywhere in a division where they're sharing it with the reigning Super Bowl champions, the Super Bowl favorites according to the betting, and the San Francisco 49ers, who could easily be in a Super Bowl if they keep all of their players fit. So yeah, I think offensive linemen and just trying to build that offense as a year one of a 3-year project has to be where they start here.
Craig, I think that's the ultimate key to understanding how the Arizona Cardinals should be approaching this draft. There's no need to do anything sexy here. You don't need a fan favorite with that number 3 overall pick. You can and probably should take the best offensive lineman available, because you ain't going to do anything this year. And, maybe you're looking at being in the sweepstakes for one of the available quarterbacks next year when we're told the depth is much greater. So you take Francis Mauigoa in that scenario?
I could see why that's put there, but I think the problem is that when you listen to a lot of the draft analysts and you listen to some of the scouting reports coming out, are any of these offensive linemen worth the 3rd overall pick? And that's the big problem. As a Giants fan, I can only look at Evan Neal and look at how everyone touted him as being the best thing. And he was a consensus top 5 draft pick, and how that's turned out, and feel for the Cardinals being forced down a corridor where everyone's saying you have to take offensive line. And I actually kind of agree in a way, because they have Brissett, they have Minshew. It's an uninspiring quarterback room. It's a quarterback room that screams we're looking at a top 5 pick to pick up a quarterback next year. And the best way to keep your first round draft pick of 2027 upright at quarterback is to get them an offensive lineman. And that's the best way to do it, is to kind of season them for a year so they understand the game starts to slow down a little bit and they're looking after that new quarterback. The biggest problem is that a lot of people just don't think that Francis Mauigoa, despite the fact he is the number 1 offensive tackle is worth that number 3 pick. If it was number 5, maybe. But number 3 just seems a little bit rich for a lot of people. They do need tackles. Left tackle Paris Johnson, he's injured. They don't know when he's coming back. They've got Elijah Wilkinson at right tackle.
Do you then, Craig, in that scenario, go back to what we were just saying, and it's like, well, okay, if David Bailey is there, we'll take him because he's worth the 3rd overall pick, and we need to invest the draft capital where it should go. It's a premium position. If this is the best player available, if he's there for us, let's take him. We'll address offensive line elsewhere.
Arvell Reese, David Bailey, Reuben Bain. One of them is going to be available. In fact, 2 of them are going to be available because you don't know what the Jets are going to do. That then puts you from the 5th least amount of sacks in 2025 to potentially getting a few more. So that's where I think they go. I think they go edge. Run it to the bank. Kuiper has them taking Arvell Reese. A lot of other people say tackle. I would be surprised if they take tackle. And for me, I think it's rich.
Kieran, they've got 7 picks, as we were saying. They end up like with a relatively uncomplicated picture relative to the other teams in the division. They pick round 1, round 2, round 3, round 4, round 5, round 6, round 7. Simples.
Yeah. And I thought that Craig was going to go down the road, the exact road that I have here in my notes as well. And he kind of teed it up a little bit. I do think I have it down. Edge is their number 1 need. They only had 8 sacks in the last 6 games last year. Whichever of David Bailey and Arvell Reese, that's the slam dunk home run pick. And obviously they need an offensive tackle. So Francis Mauigoa is one of the other names that's touted. However, this is where we talked about desperate teams a while ago. And if it comes to number 3 and Jeremiah Love is still on the board, and I'm not going to say that they're going to take Jeremiah Love. If he's still on the board at number 3, then they have a big dilemma. They have a big problem, and he likely will be available because they then need.
I hate that for him. That's Ashton Genty all over again.
They're potentially the team then that left the greatest player in the draft if he turns out to be everything that he's built up to be, and made the sensible pick. They don't have a clear need at running back. I mean, you can never. You can never have too much talent. What was the quote we were talking about the last day? If you have a good player, it shouldn't stop you from taking a great player. James Conor has had his injury woes. Tyler Algier has been up and down. Do you just say, F it, this is, Jeremiah Love, he could be generational talent? Or do you do what I think they probably will do? Trade down. Take the pressure off yourself and say we can actually get huge value here. And I think that, and I'm hearing more about the fact or the possibility of the Cardinals being the first team to accept a trade. And more people are talking about this being a spicier first round in terms of picks and trades that then we've become used to in the last couple of years. So the couple that with the fact that Francis Mauigoa, he had to go in and have that recheck, and that may spook a couple of teams that are thinking about taking him. Maybe they think we can get him at the end of the first round, maybe into the second round, maybe one of these. If we just go back down to the middle of the first round, whatever, we might be able to pick up an edge rusher, pick up an offensive tackle, and just get more value for our money slightly lower. I think they might get spooked, and I think the Cardinals will trade out of that number 3 spot.
Yeah, no, I like that as a much happier ending than the thought of Jeremiah Love, like Marvin Harrison. I picture them like, that graveyard of planes that they have. Is it in the Mojave Desert where they keep all the planes that aren't in use because it's nice and dry and they won't rust? Like poor old Marvin Harrison, just there in storage in the desert waiting to be used by a better owner. And fingers crossed that happens for him, whether it's at the Cardinals or somewhere else. That brings us to the end of our look at the draft needs for the NFC West. We've got 2 more divisions to come next week. Check out the other previews for all other teams in the NFL wherever you get your podcasts on the Irish NFL Show.
The new Wegovy pill is now available through Weight Watchers. Powerful GLP-1 results in a simple pill at the lowest price available. And with Weight Watchers, you can get doctor support and personalized nutrition programs. See if you qualify at WeightWatchers.com. Ad not reviewed or approved by Novo Nordisk.